nobody else. I wanna KISS you. Don't get it confused. My love for you, it be true, true, true. I dey throw catchy my love. You dey make a catchy gold. I dey throw catchy my love. You dey make a catchy gold. No, I dey throw catchy my love. You dey make a catchy gold. No, I dey throw catchy my love. Catchy gold. Another boy. I don't pretend, I know the line, I need you for my bed. When I say you are the super my bed, you alone with the make a feel side check. Well, I get the fever, I know feel lever. Not you for your love, but me I know be figure. Girl at the shiva, make you unbeliever. See ya, make you undeceive ya. I wanna KISS you. Don't get it confused. My love for you, it be true, true, true. I dey throw catchy my love. You dey make a catchy gold. I dey throw catchy my love.
What's up, party people? I am listening to High Radio with my girls. Hi.
You dey make a catchy gold. I dey throw catchy my love. Catchy gold.
Me and you, they sit down on a tree. The way you touching me, KISSING. If I got you, no, I would never let you go. Watching on my junction. This kind of love, no be small thing. I remember when we was nothing. Now we the job for the mansion. Nobody do me better than you. You know I'll do it for you. Got you and I never let go. Never let go, never let go. Nobody do me better than you. You know I'll do it for you. I got you and I never let go. Never let go, never let go.
My love, you dey make a catchy gold. I dey throw catchy my love. You dey make a catchy gold. I dey throw catchy my love. You dey make a catchy gold. I dey throw catchy my love. Catchy gold.
Busy others in other say I'm shy. Why wouldn't I wanna be fit body? Baby, I was I. Me go.
Catchy my love. One day without you is disaster in my world. 2 days without you, I go by my way. Oh baby, that kind joke, don't be playing it with me, no. Nobody feels at my fireplace like you.
High Radio, high radio, voice of the next generation.
Baby, won't you catch my love? I dey throw catch my love. You dey make a catchy go. I dey throw catch my love. You dey make a catchy go. I dey throw catch my love. You dey make a catchy go.
There is a way where you can properly hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Mike's Quest in the building.
Yeah, actually should have created All right, and that was Mike's Quest. Shout out to Mike's Quest, who was one of our special guests, collaborating with Calvin Boy and Ifya with Kachi Kachi. I love that track, man. I love it. It has this cool vibe to it. I know he's super promoting it. He just got nominated also for something. Hey Nayoka. At the same time, for first, I also have the Instagram on. So just want to take on the Instagrammers in the conversation. And welcome to Africa on Focus. Let's do that first. We just got it started. It's 7:30 p.m. CET Amsterdam time, and we just want to thank you for joining us right here today. So for the next hour and a half, you will be catching it live with myself and Donny to talk about all matters arising in Africa, or at least in the world of Africans. High Radio is Amsterdam's most dynamic satellite and digital radio station that promotes African culture to Africans in the diaspora. Hey, Flash Kick, how are you? If you are tuning into Facebook, be sure to like or follow our page to stay informed. And if you're tuning in on YouTube, do comment and press that subscribe button. It's so important. It's so important. Do interact with us because we've got some interesting conversations happening today. In a bit, we will also have the squad of Let's Chat Africa joining us because we have some interesting topics to talk about, which are worth talking about. Stereotyping Africa. What does that even mean? We are going to talk about that in a bit. But first, we have to do the introduction. Well, Donny, the main man, how are you?
People, I am listening to High Radio with my girls.
How are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. You're like dreaming away, man. How has been your week?
My week has been pleasant.
Okay.
I've enjoyed the sun pretty much. It's been dry all week, right?
But it's
sunny.
been cold.
It's been
This
cold.
is not an April that,
Yeah, that we actually used to, right? We used to more sunny weather. I mean, more warm weather where you can actually pull out your
at least
your light jacket.
at least
We're still wearing like winter coats and
Yeah,
winter
yeah.
jackets, so that actually means that we're still in the season of winter. But for
Yeah.
me, just give me the sun and I'm good. So yeah, I'm blessed. I've been blessed this whole week
Yeah.
with nice weather, and so I can't complain. How have you been?
Right. Same here, man. I, had to enclose my birthday celebration from last week with all my friends. Shout out to the Let's Mingle crew. We have Eagle on there. We have Ames Diary. We've got Cosmos Lipsticks, and we've got Francesca on the squad.
Okay.
And we were just
Wait, hold on.
and we just had such a good time, man. Going to the city of Rotterdam, staying for the weekend. We were almost kicked out
Why? Too many people? Too much noise.
in the room, and we're super loud when we talk. So, yeah, man, guilty. I know you can't imagine that, but yeah, we're super loud, man.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was a good week. Quite chilly. We had a good walk in the city center. When the sun leaves, you
Yeah.
can just
Yeah, then
definitely, you feel
feel
that
the cold.
breeze.
Yeah.
I hope it changes, man.
Yeah.
I really hope it does. But anyway, before we even spend so much time on our news flash like we do, I mean, if people could give us 2 hours for our usual news flash, it would always,
Yeah.
it would not be
That
enough.
is sufficient.
You
True.
get what I mean?
True.
What's been going on in our world? I mean, with I here in the city of Amsterdam or here in the Netherlands, I received so many complaints. People have not been happy with the latest announcement regarding lockdown, COVID, and not being able to pick out and go for a drink after 6.
Yeah, but at least, hey, the curfew is still now. It had been pushed back to an hour later, and as of I think 28th of April,
Right.
it will be uplifted entirely here. Curfew lifted. We can go through the new corona restrictions or measures for Netherlands. Should we do
Right.
that?
Yeah.
All right.
please
So
do.
last Tuesday, that was this week, the Prime Minister came out to announce the new regulations or any changes regarding the corona restrictions.
Right.
Right. First step is of the reopening plan. So they've started a reopening plan as of 28th of April, and that
Right.
should, let's say, the idea
Which is
is
Tuesday.
which
No?
is Tuesday.
Wednesday. Tuesday is
27,
Tuesday,
yeah. So
right.
that is 28.
Right.
So the entire idea is to have, let's say, to slowly by sure reopen things for the holidays, summer holidays, right? I don't think they envision everything to be open by then. So let's say
Yeah.
July.
Right.
However, it's in the fall that they aim to actually open everything again. So in their first step, which is going in from next week Wednesday, one is the curfew lifted. The evening curfew will be lifted at 4:30, yeah, on 28th of April 2021. So that means King's Night, 27th night, it's still curfew.
Okay.
So on King's Day, when you go out, you do your drinking and all of that, or if you can't do much after all. But if you go out and you do your walks, you do your chillings and this and that, be sure to be indoors by 10, because curfew is still on.
Right, on King's Day.
On King's Day.
Or the night leading to King's Day.
No, the night leading to King's Day is also curfew, because that's Monday night.
All right.
Hey, you guys, we give you one finger, you want another.
Oh yeah, I get that. Yeah. You have to like re-explain. Yes, I know.
Yeah. So actually, they intentionally did it after King's Day, right? Because otherwise, you know how things would have gone.
Yes.
You know how things would have gone. So yeah,
I do.
It's after King's Day, the Wednesday. That's when curfew will be lifted. Maximum of 2 visitors at home. What we have now is 1 other visitor at home.
That.
So so the advice for receiving visitors at home is changing. You are advised to receive no more than 2 visitors a day at home and visit no more than 1 other household per day. You should still limit the number of different contacts you have with other people each week. Always wash your hands when you arrive and stay 1.5 meters apart at all times.
Right.
So maximum of 2 visitors at home. Outdoor seating areas at restaurants and cafes to partially reopen. This is critical. This is important. Outdoor seating areas at restaurants and cafes may be open from 12 p.m. so 12 noon to 1800, which is 6 p.m. under certain conditions. Each establishment may have a maximum of 50 guests. Each guest must be assigned a seat. Self-service is not allowed. No more than 2 people may be seated at a table, sitting 1.5 meters apart. However, this limit does not apply if everyone at the table is part of the same household, or if the party includes children under 13. Visitors can go indoors only to pay and use cloakroom or go to the toilet. Face masks must be worn indoors. These conditions will be relaxed further in the next steps of the reopening plan. So the idea is, why is this critical?
Right.
As of now, restaurants are just closed. Whether you have a place outdoor, indoors, or rooftop, it's all closed.
Right.
So now, if you have a restaurant and you do have a place outdoors, either in the back or in the front, terraces, and Dutch love terraces.
Oh man!
Now terraces can be open,
right,
from noon till 6 p.m. The funny thing is, from noon to 6 p.m. most people are working from home. Right, so this is only beneficial for those who can take a leave or who can or in the weekends. So please, what will happen is on the weekends it's gonna be full. I think you have to fix a reservation either online or go there early as possible. Best believe on that actual day it's going to be full. The good thing is, if you are a family, then you can come with,
like people want to hang out and have a drink with their families, man. It's about friends.
But if you're not coming with family, that means that only 2 of you can sit take a table each, right? Because only maximum of 2 people may be seated at a table, and for the distance as well, unless one is under 13.
Right.
So, okay, shops and markets to reopen. All shops may admit customers without an appointment. Oh, that's cool. Certain conditions still apply, such as limit on the number of shoppers allowed inside at the same time. It's still important to avoid busy places, so So go to the shops at quiet times, such as early in the morning, and go alone if possible. Shops selling non-essential goods, such as clothes shops, can be open between 6 a.m. and 8 p.m. Supermarkets and other shops selling essential goods may operate in accordance with their usual opening hours. Wearing a face mask in the shops is still compulsory. So that means supermarkets, Albertine, normally they were open from 7 till 10.
Right.
Due to curfew, they were open from 8 or 7 till 9:45, right? So now they can just open to 10. MediaMarkt, that is currently operating, or electronic shops and or Action and all this other good shops that were not selling essential goods. They were operating or are currently operating on a order to collect basis. So you order online and you collect at the shop, but now the shops can open for people to still go in and buy things that they find necessary. Sitting theory test. Let's see what else is important. Oh yeah, this is also critical. In-person classes in higher education, 1 day a week. As of Monday, 26 April, students at universities and HiRadioNl institutions will again be able to attend classes at their educational institutions. This will be limited to about 1 day a week, and certain conditions will apply, such as staying 1.5 meters apart from others. Self-test kits will be available for students and staff as of May. So for those university students writing their thesis and they have to do it from home, now you can actually see planning one appointment at uni to see your supervisor, or you can even go to school just to do some work together with your group on assignments and this and that. And this is also very I find this is refreshing for those who are still studying, because like doing your assignments from home, at least you want to go to a library, right? But that's not possible. But now you can still go to your uni library,
just going on on a different location to meet. And oh man, I bet here people can't wait. And I think what kills everything is just that it's just now that they have introduced stages of how they are going to bring everything back to normal. And it wasn't like that before. We've been going back and forth, and they've been brushing it off, or like at least government has, and been saying, it's because of elections, it's because of this, it's because of that, all kinds of reasons. And that is what has been making people tired. But it's good to see that coming back.
I would say don't get your hopes up too high, right? And especially knowing what happened last year. Remember when they started reopening stuff, and then the second wave hit, and that was bad. It was bad. So they're slow on it. I mean, the plan is there, right? But just because things are being lifted, don't go out there doing your stuff like, hey, with a little bit of freedom. Don't take advantage of that, because it might still they might take that freedom away.
Absolutely.
I'm just waiting for the gyms to reopen.
Oh man, tell me about it. That's really, I really don't honestly don't understand why it was closed down anyway, because I thought the scheduling of people's time went well. But hey, I don't have sight, or I don't have a view of the particular numbers. But man, I've been working out at home, and it's just been, man, I'm now like on Afri Fitness and stuff like that. I need to be back in the gym. Like seriously, I seriously need that. So I would definitely side with that. Speaking of, the new measures, this is what the state is in Amsterdam.
Yes.
And for those of you who just tuned in, I just want to welcome you to Africa on Focus. Here is where we share our success stories, global Africans connecting our world and speaking of things that matters. That is really why we're here. And myself and Donny, every week we take you through the highs, the interesting topics that regard, our world that we are living in. In a bit, we will have the panel of Let's Chat Africa here to talk about very important topics that relate to Africans around the world. So you better stay in tune for that. Another highlight that I would really like to, because the cases. I mean, let's look at the cases. This is sort of what influences our world and how we go about with things. A further 9,292 new coronavirus cases were reported to Public Health Institute RIVN in the 24 hours to Friday morning, down from Thursday's high of 9,648, but still well above the weekly average. However, the number of coronavirus patients in hospitals fell by 69 overnight to another number. But of course, all of these numbers we won't remember. It's a bit above 2,500, of whom 837 are being treated in an IC ward. The thing is, my thought process was, if you get COVID, listen, you have to be not just being isolated, but like be treated seriously, but that's not the case.
No.
I've heard of people that have it and they were like, yeah, I just have to be, isolation. I recently heard of somebody who's had it twice. Man, I don't even want it once. I don't want this. So despite the slight decline, Acute Care Association Chairman Diederik Gommers told podcast Virusfeiten, which is the translation of virus facts, that some hospital chiefs have told him they expect to be in the highest level of crisis, code black, next week if cases continue to rise. And in code black, hospital staff are forced to choose who gets an intensive care bed, a situation which has not yet arisen during the pandemic. That sounds pretty serious, and these facts and figures are not shared. Another thing is the Homers declined to criticize the government's decision to end the curfew and allow pavement cafes to open for limited hours, saying that it is good that the cabinet weighs up wider interest. But he does hope that somewhere is a red button that they can use before Tuesday if things really do go wrong. And according to website Nu.nl, some 600 people who should be in hospital are actually being treated at home. Man, the figures come from patient monitoring body LCPS. The patients are not ill enough to need intensive care nursing and are being monitored remotely by hospitals, Nu.nl says. Another highlight as well, very important for especially Ghanaians, churches. Meanwhile, ministers have agreed that churches, synagogues, and mosques can be closed for 10 days if that helps put out localized outbreaks, because so far they haven't been put to any ruling. I've seen some pictures of churches and I'm like, man, this is a packed room. Like, don't you want to mask up? But hey. So the decision is in line with recommendations from the Council of State, the government's highest advisory body. The government is planning to bring in new legislation allowing local authorities to shut companies, shops, cafes, and bars if a large number of infections can be traced back to them. Places of worship would have been exempt on freedom of religious grounds. These are some of the the numbers that we really should look at and really have we should not forget.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, these were the highlights of COVID here in the city of Amsterdam. I am so curious to know how you are doing from wherever you are and wherever in the part of the world. If you are tuning in via Facebook, shout out to you. Make sure that you share it on your timeline. If you are on YouTube, subscribe to our page, which is HiRadioNl, and all of our other platforms. On Instagram, people are tuning in with me. Shout out to Kweku the realtor, Ike Bruce, and some of the others, Shalene Austin, DJ D-Man, for tuning in with me. If you would like to continue and discuss more about what we are talking about, do join us on Facebook or on YouTube. We'll be starting Let's Chat Africa in a bit. Hopefully, the last 15 minutes we can put some news flash there. That will be good because a lot has been going on. But first, let's listen to a good tune that goes by Kwabena Awute with his record called Fine Woman. Amsterdam-based Ghanaian artist. Let's get into this.
Fine woman, your body like chocolate, African woman. Your body like chocolate, fine woman. Taste I gon' never forget, African woman. Body like chocolate, fine woman. Your body like chocolate, African woman. Your body like chocolate. Body sweet like a coke. She shy, so we taking it slow. You there for my mind, but you already know the way she unwind, I go lose my control. Oh, say, baby, if I make up, so we lose ourselves in love. I go do anything for your love, fine woman. Your body like chocolate, African woman. Your body like chocolate, fine woman. Taste I gon' never forget, African woman. Body like chocolate, fine woman. Your body like chocolate, African woman. Your body like chocolate.
You're listening to High Radio.
Follow the baseline. Take it low. Take it slow. Take it easy. Now go trend on me. Yo, fair. Maybe if I make up, so we lose ourselves in love. I go do anything for your love. Miss it from my man, fine woman. Your body like chocolate, African woman. Your body like chocolate, fine woman. Taste I gon' never forget, African woman. Body like chocolate, fine woman. Your body like chocolate, African woman. Your body like chocolate.
And that was Kwabena Awute with his record called Fine Woman. You got to love a song that appreciates the black women. Like, this should be celebrated instead of us whining. You know what I mean? And saying, oh yeah, what is it? Some black people don't like, dark-skinned women or whatever, which is a whole other discussion.
Then you just play this song for them.
Right. And shout out to Kwabena Awute, Amsterdam, Ghanaian artist who is, dropping his music and making beautiful music, of course. Welcome back to Africa on Focus. Man, we are almost hitting 8 p.m. CET time, coming to you live from the city of Amsterdam. And if you have stumbled upon us, welcome to High Radio, which is Amsterdam's most dynamic satellite and digital radio station that promotes African culture to Africans in the diaspora. We represent Africa all over the world. We are just, hitting the new latest hour, and it's time for some discussion of our reoccurring topics, which we call and highlight Let's Chat Africa, which is a panel of young Africans who we might invite, also some other faces as well, maybe in the future. If you want to, just let us know. But we always hold the conversation surrounding interesting topics. First, before we get things started and introduce our returning guests, Africa on Focus is made possible by Austin, which is elevating your brand If you are looking to elevate your personal company or organization brand, you are ready for that, reaching the world, right? You definitely want to find byaustin.com, which is a brand and communication company that helps you to strategize all that you need to know of making it in this now virtual world. Also, African Focus is made possible by Be Artists, a web hosting and graphics platform. If you are looking for a website, full service, or just designed, Be Artist is a platform that you can find for your domain name or, all of the things that are needed to service your website. Again, welcome to Africa on Focus. If you stumbled upon us on Facebook, do not forget to share on your timeline. Shout out to everybody that is listening through www.HiRadioNl, through TuneIn, all of our other partnering platforms, and also shout out to all of you who are listening through Instagram and all of the other channels. We appreciate all of the attention that we are getting. All right, let's talk about this. Let's Chat Africa. Donny, do you think Africa is still being stereotyped?
Yes.
Yes. If that was a no, then I would probably ask you why. All right. Well, we are going to talk about, the underdeveloped image that we, the diaspora, have, and not too much concerned about, how the world thinks of us, because that one has been.
Right.
Has been negative. We're still fighting this sort of negativity on a daily basis. Yeah. So this is really about, people of the diaspora and actually our people that, that we need to come on board on, whether it's Pan-Africanism or whether it's just, a song of unity or anything. It's really about that. Mm-hmm. And before I will go into what led to this particular topic, I'll just go and invite the panelists that are on, Liz and Nene, to come and join us. And if Nene could put on his camera, that would be great. And see where he's at. Oh, we see him. We see that's a true tech guy, Nene is definitely a true tech guy. And for him to be on with his his earphones and all, let's get them on. By the way, shout out to Slim, who is the producer behind the how can we call them, the steering wheels. I don't know what that is, the steering wheels or whatever that is that we're doing. Shout out to him. And he doesn't get enough of love. So let's get Liz and Nene on there, and let's have them on to talk with us. Liz, how are you doing? Let's see if the sound is right. Okay, I know she should be on. Hold on, Liz, for just 1 minute and we'll get you on. That actually gives us time, to just drop one song and to figure all of this music out. Yeah. Let's listen to Comfort collaborating with T-Babs on the record. We'll be right back and getting you on with some Let's Chat Africa.
You're listening to High Radio.
You comfort me when I run far away. You comfort me when the going is good. You cheer me on, yeah. And when it bad, you keep me going on. When you gave your all for me, this is what you afford for me. Love and peace and joy in you, yeah. So many things you are to me, and everything is all for free. Love and peace and joy is you, yeah. Holy Spirit, you comfort me. And when I run far away, you comfort me. When the going is good, You cheer me on, yeah. And when it bad, you keep me going on. You keep me going on. Jelly, change my life and you care for me. Got me connected to the source.
I am listening to High Radio with my girls. I am listening to High Radio with my girls.
Breath in me can be flyer than a bird. I'm living free, no more born to a curse. Listen to my verse, it keeps me dripping in anything but a hurt. So God, man's not ready. Show me mighty thing, revelation and steady. Shower me with love, like confetti. All I want is you, intimacy like spaghetti. Oh God, man's not ready. Show me mighty thing, revelation and steady. Shower me with love, like confetti. All I want is you, intimacy like spaghetti. Oh God, yeah. All I want is you, intimacy like spaghetti. Oh God, yeah. Holy Spirit, you comfort me.
And that was, to me, that's a jam. Like I'm playing that record like I'm some type of, I don't know, but I feel bossy when I put up the speakers in my car and listen to that song. But anyway, welcome back to Africa on Focus. That was shout out to Angelo collaborating with T-Babs on that record called T-Babs. Welcome back. We just came back and kind of recovered from a sound thing. But I tell you, we have the people of Let's Chat Africa back on to come and join us in this conversation. And that has to do with Stereotyping Africa. Let's just get on and let me test the waters and see if we can properly hear Liz. Hey, Liz, how are you doing?
Hey, guys. Can you hear me now?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay,
how have you been?
I'm doing good.
Good. Got the hair wrap going on?
Yeah, exactly. Today was the hair washing day. That's why you have to put in the wrap just to let the hair rest for a bit.
You're absolutely right. How has been your week?
It's been pretty uneventful, just very standard, Right. There's not much to do. Mm-hmm. So it's been very repeating things over and over again. Going out, coming back home, thinking about, when can we do this again, or when can we do that again, things like that. So it's been pretty uneventful, but I guess that's good. It's better than being eventful in a negative way.
That is true. There is some productivity going on, so that sounds positive.
Yeah.
Well, welcome back again on Africa on Focus, or Let's Chat Africa. Thank you for giving us your time. Let's check if Nene can also give us a shout out or hear us on the back end. How are you, Nene? I'm not sure if you can hear us. Nene, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you all.
Oh, great. How have you been? You're really laid back today. You can just see that this is the kind of Sunday that relaxes you.
Yeah, because I'm in Ghana at the moment.
You're where?
Yeah, I'm in Ghana. I'm in Ghana at the moment.
Okay, look at you getting all of the sun that you deserve.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow.
Quite relaxing.
Right. It's good. It's definitely good. I'm not envying you. I'm just saying, enjoy all of it, because here nothing's going on. It's just cold. We've counted on April to give us, some good vibes, but it's been quite disappointing.
Wow.
Yeah, that's. Well, welcome again to both of you. It's such a great time to have you back on to talk about something that is really relevant to our time today. And basically what I came down to was Stereotyping Africa. Reason why I came on that was basically, last March was quite eventful because in the entertainment, obviously, a lot of entertainment goes on in our world as well, was the release of the Coming to America Part 2. And that kind of raised a lot of discussion now that we're in a time where maybe, if I can call it right, the African consciousness is more on a high among young people, young adults, and all of that. And the movie came out based on a fictional characters, fictional city. Everything is fictional. However, it does relate to the African continent and connecting that to a group of the diaspora who were called African Americans. Obviously, it has erased some cliches about the continent, but as it has come out, people feel that it should still be a movie to change the attitude of people. And that's why I found it interesting to look at some of the self-reflecting topics of how we view Africa, some of the stereotypes that reflect in the movie, and some of the articles and things that we have run into and we have discovered as well, and to really highlight, is the idea that we have of the continent truly worth adding to uniting Africans all around the world? That's really what I wanted to talk about. Have any of you even seen the Coming to America Part 2?
I haven't.
You haven't? Oh man. What about you, Liz? Have you seen the movie?
So Michael mute.
Yeah, for some reason, sorry, Liz. For some reason, it's still muted on your end. It's not your fault, but we are fixing it with the tech guy to ensure that there is some sound coming out. Let's see. Hold on a few seconds. Slim is running here madly. I mean, after this, we should buy him some watches or something. I mean,
some watches.
Where do you even get that? At this point of time, man.
Slim is running a marathon.
Exactly. Something nutritious or something full. You can just eat and just save for the next morning.
We should be able to hear now.
All right. Should you be able to hear us? Do you hear us now?
I can hear you, yes.
Oh, man. Yes. It's fixed. Yeah. All right. Please let us know. Have you seen the movie?
Yes, I've seen the movie.
All right.
I think, in my opinion, it was a very, it comes basically from the diaspora. It's a very diasporan perspective, right. Especially African American diaspora. It basically uses Africa or African symbols as a symbol of mainly as symbolic, right?
Yeah.
I think one of the daughters, she had like suits on, and all the suits represented like one of the flags. I think she had a suit that had like the Nigerian colors, one that had like the Kenyan colors of the flag, and I think one that also had the Ghanaian flag colors.
Yeah.
And that really represented how they would use these symbols and tokens that were very disconnected from like the African reality, but more of like a symbolic element to it. So for me, not coming from like an African country or coming from a Caribbean background, it was a little bit familiar because that's the main element in which you are introduced to Africa.
Right.
You're not really introduced to it as the real Africa, but more like a symbol, the accents and like the attire and the music. So yeah, that was my first impression from it. But for me, I wasn't like offended. Like I don't really know if the accents were good or bad. Because I come from like a Caribbean background.
Right.
So yeah, that's specifically to where I'm coming from.
Okay. I just want to know, did you like it, Liz? Did you like the movie? Did you enjoy it?
I didn't have high expectations. I think that should be noted. Like I didn't really go into it to like be like this is a good movie or not. Like I did have some good laughs in there, like 3 or 4 good laughs, but my expectation wasn't like very high. So when it was finished, I wasn't disappointed because I didn't expect much. So yeah, if you expect it's gonna be a very like pro Africa real representation, you're not gonna get that at all.
No.
But if you're just gonna go get some like Eddie Murphy type jokes, and that's like sometimes borderline offensive. Yeah, that's what it did to a lot of nostalgia as well. That's it.
All right. Is Nene there?
Nene, what did you think?
What does Nene think? Can you hear us?
Nene, what did you think of the movie?
Hello. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Personally, I haven't watched the movie yet, which I'm planning to do so this week. But so I don't have much to say on that because, but
dog.
Yeah, I don't have much to say on that.
Right.
Right.
So isn't that the men? Both of you men haven't seen it. Why is that?
Be able to tell you, but have you seen the first part one? Have you seen the part one, Nene?
No.
Part one? No, you haven't either.
How come? Shame on you, Nene. Shame on you. Listen, that's an ever classic. How can you not have seen it?
Should he see the part one first and then watch the part two, or what would you say?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know what? I think he can watch part two.
Okay.
I kind of want to know how he feels about it. You know what I mean? Because almost no one hasn't seen part one. You know, so that will give a sort of a fresh perspective on that.
Yeah. And I wonder, has Liz also seen part one?
I've seen it last year, I guess. So I didn't see it back in the day. I saw it like last year.
Okay.
So that comes with a different, like, that's a more like a 2020 perspective, about like talking about like identity and gender and all those things.
Yeah.
But that's why I didn't have a lot of expectations for the second movie, because when I saw it, it wasn't like, it was a very outdated type of humor, I guess.
Right.
So if you see it now, I think back then those jokes were funny, like especially when he went to the barber and they were mocking him for being African and all those things.
Yeah.
But in this time, that would not be funny, basically. But back then it was. But I think understanding that they did that back then would also provide context why they did it in the second part as well. They did that scene again that he went in the barbershop and they were teasing him for being African.
Yeah.
But in this movie, it was a different tone, because basically they understand there was a limit.
Right.
There was one person that said a joke and they were like, whoa, that's too much.
Yeah.
But in the first one, everything was on the table. So yeah, I think seeing it like last year for the first time gave me also a different perspective on what it can be, basically, what it was.
Gotcha. One thing I really like about you, because last time you mentioned, Liz, that you, I don't know if I got you right, you studied the impact of media, or how media is used to influence people, something of that order. Was that correct?
Yeah, so like I have a master's in media studies. So basically I studied how we interact with media and how media helps us construct our identity, our community, all those things. And when I say media, it's not just like TV and radio, but for example, the packaging that comes on a soap bar, that's also media. The books or the Bible, the language they use, for example, in school, or the language they use, for example, on a packaging. All of those, the images they use, if it's light skin or dark skin on a lotion or a shower gel, all those things influence how we identify ourselves and we connect with other people.
Right. So pretty much you see through all the nonsense. That's really what you really see.
Like I can understand it, but it's very hard. None of us, I think, can erase ourselves from it, because it's constant. Yeah. Like this week, I do like random studies. I'm a nerd like that. I just do like random research.
Yeah.
And I try to do the research on how many commercials when I bike to my work, how many commercials of food, like fast food, that I see. Mm-hmm. And like every corner I turned, there was a burger, like McDonald's, Burger King, everywhere. And it's subconscious because you're biking, maybe you're listening to music or a podcast or whatever, but you're constantly seeing food. Mm-hmm. It's entering your subconscious. And like, how does that affect when you're like, ooh, I crave McDonald's? Are you craving it, or is it because you've seen it the whole ride when you're going to work? You've seen burgers everywhere, you know? Right. But I don't think you can detach yourself, even if you understand it. It still has an effect on you, I guess.
Yeah. So one of the reasons why I find this important to get into was there was a piece of a read online where it said, Western cinema has a long and continuing history of relegating Africans to the sidelines in films about Africa, using the continent as a backdrop for white characters' journey of self-discovery or moral reckoning. From a few of the movies that have been released, like Blood Diamond, I think that we can at least, remember the trailer from that. You also have Two Out of Africa, which was released in 1985 and so forth. In this case, you have an example of the Coming to America, whereby Eddie Murphy was determined to depict Africans as rich, equal to white people, and proud of their roots. So that's why he assembled, him and his cast to be able to deliver that. Even in spite of some of the critiques, the film has been really successful. The second run, even though I didn't watch it a second time, because if I watch it a second time, I really feel, a movie is that good. It was the success, I think, the success of the Amazon Prime channel that it had been for a long time, and it showed that global audiences wanted to see more stories about a different sort of Africa from that they were used to watching on screen. So the first thing I would ask, what are all of your ideas? I would love to start with you, Donny. Compared to maybe your younger years, do you feel like the way that Africa is depicted on your screens specifically, because we're talking about the entertainment side, do you think that it's beneficial to you as an African, coming from the soil
right now?
Yeah,
the way Africa has been depicted via media, do I think it's beneficial?
Can you connect to it?
Can I connect to it?
Yeah.
For one, yeah, I'm aware that society is changing, right? And I'm aware society is different. And one important aspect of society that is very annoying,
right,
but is helpful in this context is this political correctness.
Okay.
So how I feel about the depiction of Africa, whether it's beneficial to me, not entirely, but I do know that they are trying to. Why? Because if they do not, political correctness will come after them. So it's a more balanced society now, in the sense that they're trying to protect more people for whatever gain it is. And for myself, I do think that Africa is being exposed a lot more, and in a manner where individuals get to create, or they get to, let's say, give the stories about their African experience, or tell the let's say, story from personal experiences rather than from studies or research, right? That is beneficial to, as a diasporan, that's beneficial to my perspective or idea on Africa, because I can go on YouTube and find someone just traveling through Africa. Can listen to a podcast and hear someone talking about Africa from their point of view. And so it is much more easier. Whatever the picture they are creating now, I know it's not something factual because it's coming from an individual, and whatever tends to be factual, or whatever is promoted as fact within politics or within academia or research, I know that the shift in society due to political correctness will or straighten that, or will limit the negativity of those things. That's what I would say. I feel about let's say the media portrayal of Africa.
Okay. Interesting thinking there. Before I go into this, I would really like to know of Dana. He's in Ghana now, but I am sure that you can definitely share a thing or two about how has it been in your experience, your environment. What do you feel? How do you feel about how Africa is now being depicted, and can you connect and relate to that in this current time in any way?
Was that the Matrix?
Not sure. I think Nene's camera is a bit on standstill. Nene, can you hear us now?
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear us?
Yes, can everyone hear me?
Yes, definitely. What do you think of the image of your Africa? Let's say your Africa, in media now, and can you connect to it in any way?
Yeah, in a way I can connect to it, because there are certain things concerning Africa that you can easily get to find on YouTube or on other media platforms. But I believe that what Africa is about, or what Africa stands for, is not entirely portrayed. Entirely portrayed, because when Africa, when you take a look at Africa is in terms of riches and resources, like I'll say Africa is the best, is the continent that actually has all these things. But when it comes to the media, I feel information about Africa is filtered. The reason I don't know, but I believe that though they try to actually tell much about Africa, but it's not entirely what it is. It's either diluted or it is filtered. Yeah.
Can you connect to any of the now images that you see in the media? Can you connect to it in that way? And that mean, we're not talking about general television, but the way you see it, it could probably be on an advertisement or on a bus stop or anything of that. Really what comes on your feed, let's say that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that? How do you feel that it has improved?
Can you come again with a question? I can't really hear you.
Yeah. How do you feel that it has improved? Has it improved according to you, or has it not? And how do you think this has?
Oh no, I think it has improved. I think it has improved because compared to now, there are certain things that actually cannot really be put out, or there are certain things that could just be put out there. And of course, this mainstream social media platform are not more orchestrated by, I would say, Africans. So it's like we just put the raw things about Africa out there just like that, without being at least decorated or at least made nice. So for now, I would say there has been improvement and it's better than before, because at least most people have rose to talk about such things. And so yeah, it's better now compared to before.
Now, one of the things that I love is that Liz you kind of give a perspective, because you've been in Ghana, for instance, for a while, and outside of it as well, and then also the Caribbean, as it relates to being around the Afro-Caribbean. How do you look at the development of how Africa is portrayed now? Do you connect to it from what you truly and deeply know from your learnings?
I think that is a complex question of connection.
Right.
I think for me, there was a point that I was looking for, coming from the Caribbean and wanting to connect with my African roots.
Yeah.
You do the same thing that most of the Western narratives do. You reduce Africa to the single story, but you make it hyper positive. Like kings and queens, and Africa is motherland, positive, look at the positive and look at the positive. And that it goes like what Chimamanda Ngozi said, the danger of the single story. It's even if it's positive, it's still not real. Right? It recognizes experiences that are multiple and complex. So for me now, if I look at how Africa is represented in my community, I know my auntie living in Curacao watches Nigerian soap opera. And to the point that it's annoying, I can't be, she watches it all the time. That's the thing she does. 10 years ago, that was not the case.
Yeah.
I think understanding, planning trips with my family to go to Ghana all together. Most of the time, that was not a thought, right? Africa was not a place to travel to, but now we have that curiosity and we have that that desire to visit and see things and see that it's beyond the idea of this starving African narrative.
Right.
And I think what Donny was saying about the multiple people and the multiple platforms that allow for multiple stories and multiple perspectives have actually helped in creating that, having access to Nigerian soap operas, having access to YouTube channels, having access to multiple perspectives has created a connection that is, I think, authentic, in the sense that I'm not looking for a Africa that was stuck in the past that I want to imagine, but that actually allows me to connect with it in a real way, to see all of the sides of it and how it's transforming and moving forward, instead of me seeing it as the starving African narrative or the kings and queens narrative, but actually seeing something that is authentic and that actually connects us in we want to engage with it, we want to learn more, we want to be more connected to this reality, basically.
Right. One of the things that I'm also looking at is that one of the critiques to the movie, because how people critique the movie is can somehow also be connected to what people really think of how Africa is being depicted and how it's been interpreted. One of the comments that I ran into is that Africa is often depicted as monolithic, and yeah, some would say that there is not an excuse for any filmmaker to treat the African continent in this way. Some would also debate that a lot of people that are outside, that are part of the diaspora but cannot connect to Africa in its right sense, they are saying that Africa needs to be presented in somehow in a collective way that it is, so that people could just start having an idea, or that it can start sparking some curiosity. When I did read about it, I thought it was kind of sad, because here it's saying that, okay, in order for people to understand it, or let's say the African Americans or whatever, we're supposed to just kind of squash everything. So with the Swahili accent,
Right. Yeah.
and then some Nigerian cultural elements, and then squash it and then present it as in Africa. But then you kind of feel in the area of really learning, as to what you really come from. And if you ask me, I kind of find it, I then question, because I can't conclude on what the direct result would be, but I then question, okay, is this the proper way to educate, people in that sense?
Like, why do you question that? Do you think it's too much, or do you think it's it's too many?
Yeah, I do think so, especially how it is presented in this Coming to America thing.
Yeah.
Because one of the examples, I'll give one example that it also came across in the part one, the bathing of the kings or the princes or whatever. It was presented as an African way, but it's probably done among a particular tribe. And they probably used to do it, or or they do it in this modern day, maybe not every day, or maybe when just maybe once in a blue moon or something like that. You know what I mean? But that being presented, it will come out to someone else who doesn't know a thing to say, okay, oh, you're the guy from Africa, so they bath you in every week.
Yeah.
So the ignorance then, it might highlight some ignorant conversations or ignorant comments, if you ask me.
Or it will create some new stereotypes.
Yeah.
Which are not necessarily positive, or which individuals may feel like, no, this is not the image that we actually want to
exactly
uphold. I think Liz can speak a little bit more about that kind of things, situations.
I think she can. Here is where we share our success stories, and we talk about what's going on in the world of Africans. Hold that thought for us, Liz, as we fix a bit of the what's it called, the audio problem. I know you can hear us, but it's just that from your end we can't hear your mic on this thing, and that thing has been muted. So if you can hold on for us, we're just going to play a record so that we get into some good vibes. And let's listen to One by Marizu. And what's no, I really would like to have another jam that I could really use at this moment. I'm giving that to Flexclusive, collaborating with Famille on his record called Wasisa. Let's listen to that, and we'll be right back.
Yeah. Yes, they'll do with your command. I am the pro. Come close, make a hold you. Me and the pro. Oh, baby, I can't. Why don't I take my cash away? Let it tell me they be hard. I give you twice a dollar. Mama, musica. Musica. Mama, musica. Make pancha. Mama, musica. Anyway, you big penno. Anyway, you big penno. Anyway, you big penno. I can see it. Anyway, you big penno. Yeah. Obe. To boss you na radio, you boko. If it's a Sabiara, you boko. But now you dey show me. Basa, you dey do me. Oh, what's up? You dey lift me. Mama, musica. Musica. Mama, musica. Pancha, Mama, musica. Mama, musica. Yeah, I told you I'm not you. I told you I'm not you. But today, I think so you fool me. We feel too broke like two weeks. Now I buy all like movies. Yeah. Hey, what up on me one more? I just am begging me. Hey, what a kind of me one more? Obi da wa don't need me. Cause the yantina oh yantina. If you say what's this oh what's this Obako se kaide bi. Kaide bi. Kofi was so me. I say when me. Yes, you do with your command. I am the pro. Come close, make a hold you. Me and the pro, me now boy. Oh baby, I can't. Why if I take my cash away? But it's a more they be hard. I'll give you twice a dollar. Mama, musica. Musica. Mama, musica. Me fancha. Mama, musica. Yeah. Mama, musica. Me family, Charlie. Hey, what a fun of me, one more. I just am begging me. Hey, what a kind of me, one more.
What's up, party people? I am listening to High Radio with my girls. Hi.
Flex exclusive collaborating with Familia on his record called Wasisa. Anyway, welcome back to Africa on Focus, and we are here on High Radio, the voice of the next generation, dealing with a small technical hiccup, but I'm sure that's fixed right now. And let's just see. And now we should hear Liz. Hey, Liz, can you hear us? For some reason, yes, we can hear you now. Yay! I'm so happy.
Yeah. If I can answer the question, I think it is a hard question to answer because these selections of certain elements and like making it like African is very it reduces the African narrative to a single story, which is very dangerous, right? It's the same thing that happened in like the Black Panther with like the accents. I talked to like some friends from Southern Africa, and they were like, that doesn't make any sense because one has the mom and the son has very completely different accents. Sure. It doesn't it's not accurate. It's just, and for me in my ear, I don't really hear a difference, right?
Right.
But I can hear a difference between like the accent from Barbados and Jamaica, and maybe someone else can. And I think it connects with this issue of movement. We're moving forward because people are becoming more curious about Africa and like African cultures, but we still have that idea of the issue of like that the mainstream media having wanting to have like one narrative. They wanna, and usually they pick everything, choose and pick, and then they put it in a story that at the end of the day doesn't make sense. But I think like as an individual or as Black community, as a Black community, if you want to connect with Africa, I don't think you should be going to coming to America or things like that. You're not really gonna learn much.
No, you shouldn't.
It's more because in the diaspora we have like there's African communities, there's Caribbean communities everywhere. Like here in Rotterdam, for example, there's a big Cabo community, a big like Cameroonian community, and a big like Anti community. And I think that's where we have to start. You know, these movies have to create a curiosity and allow us to like connect with each other in a non-judgmental way, which is very hard, I think. But I think that's where we actually start to understand, actually talking to people and knowing like this friend is South African and this friend is Ghanaian, like through personal connections, it's really when you can start understanding like the diversity. Because if you don't really have these personal connections, it's still gonna be like Africa. This is African, and like where exactly, what exactly is it coming from? These mainstream stories don't usually differentiate them. So yeah, I think that would be my answer for it, and allowing like more like African people telling stories would give access to like stories that are more authentic, right?
Yeah. Gotcha. Yeah. So I definitely agree with you on that. That it should not be, if people really would like to learn about Africa, they should not, start with those movies.
Yeah.
And if Wakanda was bad, Coming to America was even worse. Seriously, with Black Panther, I watched, I think last week. I could still see, okay, they intentionally gave a particular tribe a Nigerian accent, and then some, the accent that comes from the Swahili speaking countries. I was able to identify that, there they took a lot of time for their symbolism and everything to be sort of, grouped in a particular way, and depicting different tribes. In Coming to America, it was no. It didn't even, they didn't even try. They were like, listen, we're just putting everything together. Listen, this is Zamunda, and who cares?
All over the place.
All over the place, definitely. So if Black Panther was bad, Coming to America was definitely worse. Absolutely. One of the things, because of time, I definitely think we should give this like a part 2 where we would have, uninterrupted sound to really highlight this. Really where I'm getting at, touching on these particular topics that is, generalizing and all of that, is to really touch on, how the diaspora really looks at, how Africa is. And it's really such a broad question, because if we look at stereotype, then it's even to the point where, let's say, an African coming from abroad would stereotype someone local as being slow, or being, let's say, not as assertive, you know what I mean? To even some of within the diaspora thinking that, if you would land in Accra, for instance, there would be this thick smell of fish. You have so many type of crazy stereotypes that come on. I would just like to know, just because of time's sake, what are some of like the crazy things, the different things that you've heard talking to people, about Africa, that definitely need to be addressed? And I would really like to hear it from you, Nene. Maybe in your line of work, maybe growing up and things. Could you share that from your own experience on that? I, I was informed there was just a small delay on Nene's connection, but we are good to go. Yes, they go ahead.
Okay. Well, there has been quite a lot of negative things. For instance, like for a young guy coming from Africa, with having completed my bachelor's in Africa and okay, coming to, let's say, Europe to work and to further my education. It's more or less like okay, even with that high achievement, you are still considered, or you still have to prove yourself, in such an environment, which happens to like indirectly tell you that you are not equipped enough. You are not equipped enough to maybe do this or do that, and that you have to extremely prove yourself before you could actually do take up a certain role. And that's to me, it's more like some kind of perception that's some kind of perception that one has about Africa, or some kind of perception that the Western world has about Africa. Because I believe that if we all have the same qualification. Maybe, for instance, someone has a bachelor from Africa, okay, the same bachelor, and we happen to compete for the same job. Of course, they would go for the Western, the one who had his or her qualification from the Western parts of the world, other than the one who got his qualification from Africa. So this in a way I see as it's not really, though it's a way of maybe trying to make sure that we have the right person, but I feel it's dumb in a way. And when you are even given the opportunity, when you do something, when you outperform, it's more like how do I call it? It's more like it's more like something which is not expected, or such performance is not really expected from an African guy like you or something. It's like, but when it has to do with the other party, it's like okay, it's a normal thing. And for me, I see that I find it very negative, because if one performs or one does well, it should be like the normal thing. But then to more or less like target that, oh, okay, this guy is from Africa and he performed, or he did this, doesn't really kind of speak well. Because when I hear things like that, it's just it derails my spirit actually. So yeah, these are some of the few negative things at my workplace and all. Certain things I just think that okay, it just should be considered normal. Okay, it just should be considered normal. It just should be considered among like all other things. But it's just like okay, because this guy is from Africa, he did this, and it kind of stands out. Africans don't really do this, or Africans don't really achieve such feats. It's quite alarming for me. I don't know if I've explained myself enough, or maybe if I've made my points clear enough.
Yeah, you definitely gave a good idea. Yeah, we can hear you. Sometimes we need to double check that. So what about yourself, Donny?
Let me see. So some outrageous things I've heard, right, about being African, or speaking to someone that isn't African, right?
Yeah.
The craziest idea they have about Africans. Let's see. Well, I mean, verbally, not many, right? And I mean, you can go on the internet, and I like to read comments, or I go into comment section to have an idea of people, thoughts
Yeah.
of something.
Mm-hmm.
and you won't see as much. But what I've personally, one of the reoccurring stereotypes, right, that you always hear, um, either at workforce, home, um, when you go out clubbing or activities, is this whole stereotype of black men having a bigger equipment than
Oh, that one is still
the
strong, isn't
African.
it?
That one is still prevalent. Maybe because it's true. Also, but but that stereotype, you just hear it
Right.
everywhere. Other than that, I would say that they're not um another another one is that African men have more than one wives,
Oh,
or
right.
they'll have one wife and then multiple,
I haven't heard that one
on the
yet.
side.
Oh, yeah.
They will say that. It's the same that you will hear someone say to a Muslim, "Oh, but you guys can marry four wives."
Right.
Right? So, which is a stereotype, but is it really a stereotype? As it's a perception of another group towards another group. So it is a stereotype in a sense. So yeah, those I hear a lot, and those I do encounter. Um, yeah, that
Those are the
is
few.
those are the few. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Right. What about you, Liz?
And listening, these stereotypes are very connected to like the black identity, I guess. But I do, when I think about this, my priority is like how we as black people interact with each other. And there is this double-sided like competition, I guess, or disconnection between like people from continental Africa and people from like Afro-Caribbean or the African diaspora. And I've heard things from like people from Afro-Caribbean talking about that connects with the idea of backwardness, right? Africa being backward, the idea of Africans living in huts and dressing like with animal attire and like walking around dancing and doing all those things. And usually it comes as jokes, but it also connects to the subconscious of this is what you relate Africa to, right?
Right.
But on the other side, I've heard people from continental Africa saying like, yeah, your ancestors were weak or they were not fast enough. That's why they got enslaved and things like that.
That's a lot.
Yeah. And I think that reflects how disconnected we are, that we are taking the things that the story of African, or not even Africanness, but blackness that's been taught to us, and we're fighting against each other, right?
Yeah.
And it's basically connected to the idea of enlightenment, that Europe was the mind, the intelligence, the rationale, and Africans were the body, strong. They're good for working. They're good for like dancing. They're good for like sex and things like that.
Right.
But they're not good at being rational. They're not good at being like educated and providing knowledge. So those, most of the times when I hear things, it's always connected to that, about like the physicalness of Africans, like their primitiveness, the backwardness, and elements like that. And it's upsetting because a lot of times it comes from Black people. It comes from Black people. And we're like pitting each other, pitted against each other, and we like fall into that trap, and we keep fighting against each other and like offending each other, creating more of a gap between how we can actually connect. Because once you start talking about ancestry, once you start talking about backwardness and being irrational and all those things, people get defensive and people disengage. which is really a detriment to all of us.
Yeah, I wouldn't have said it better. I wouldn't have said it better. Absolutely. On that note, we should definitely have like a part 2 or 3 for this, because this was just even an introduction of this topic.
Yeah.
Having addressed the stereotypes that were worth mentioning, coming from our own personal experience. I think that we could next level connect that to okay, where does it maybe come from? Or what are some of the what is the thought process that could be addressed, to change the pattern of thinking,
Right.
concerning this thing, and also to also maybe also discover from Liz, what is the piece of education that we miss and where we can look into.
Yeah.
Is it maybe, could it be that particular books deserve an audiobook, and things like that, opposing to just looking at a movie,
Yeah.
or that part of entertainment, which is just an extension, right,
Yeah.
of some of the topics that are worth highlighting. Um, the example of the Black Panther, the example of the Coming to America, it is on one side, I do see that it is sometimes necessary to kind of raise an awareness for young kids and whatever, all of the people, so that they just have an idea of, hey, this is how the story is drawn. Because in Black Panther, they did draw some of the stories between African Americans and people from the soil, as in like, oh, you left your people, you left your people behind, you have resources, why don't you just use them to improve the continent? But, rather than just leaving all of your Black people just scattered around the world,
Yeah.
which does connect to, our real life.
Right.
So some would say, if it takes such a movie for people to be awakened, why not?
Yeah.
I think that is worth to touch on that next time when we return and talk about this topic, and also revert to a funny, interesting video that kind of went viral some time ago of an Afro Surinamese reflecting and really uttering her stereotypes regarding Africa, and actually getting some backlash for it. So that would be quite interesting to also reflect on. How is this right here in the Netherlands, right here in the city of Amsterdam? Any last thoughts, people? And I do have to apologize for, the breakups in the connection. We will definitely fix that so that we can have a good discussion on our next Let's Chat Africa. Does any of you have something to add? Do let me know. All right. I think the silence says for itself.
No, actually, I was waiting on them.
Sorry?
I was waiting on Liz and Nene.
No, I think it's important for us to understand that historically, Africa has not had the authority to provide its own story. When we talk about like the 1960s, it was European journalists that defined what Africa was. And Africa was war and famine and hunger, because that's what they provided to the world.
Yeah.
And now we have an opportunity to tell our own story, and we should take advantage of that, and we can do that in a multiple way, in a diverse way. We shouldn't fall in the trap of one way to tell the story, but all of our experiences matter, and that actually creates a more authentic story of what Africa is and what it can be.
Sure. I love that. What about you, Nene?
Well, what I have to add to it is that we should connect more with our background. We should connect more with what Africa is about, and just as Liz said earlier, it's not just movies, because most of these things that are portrayed through movies are filtered, and they don't really portray Africa. They don't really talk. They don't really talk much. Really talk about Africa. But then we should find a way to really connect to our background, get an unadulterated truth, like to get really, really the true story of Africa, because I believe that in that we can really discover our identity, and we can actually walk in such confidence and tell the stories also to the generations yet to come. Yeah.
Agreed.
Right.
What about you, Donny?
I would say that for those, let's say within media and let's say movies, right? So the movies, especially the one that come through a major production or cinemas, their main purpose is to entertain. If according to the figures, if they run, let's say they do the forecast and see that, hey, this is not going to sell, that simply means it's not going to, they think people are not going to find that entertaining enough, right? So that's that thing. So to even don't watch movies for let's see, for education,
Right.
movies that help inspire are actually doing more than they can, because movies that are for education are called what documentaries. Thank you. Right, or
Right.
Interviews or whatnot, like those are there. You go into a cinematic movie, entertain yourself. I loved Black Panther.
Right.
I never, when you guys were talking about Nigerian accent here, and
You never noticed?
no, I noticed but I wasn't I wasn't let's say analyzing or taking that and, hey, what kind of accent is that? What kind of accent is that?
Yeah.
That's a different accent than the American accent. That's all that was.
That's all you
that
need.
all mattered to me.
Right.
And if they classified that as an African accent, just fine. Nigerian accent is different than Swahilian or Zimbabwean or a South African accent. So I'm just watching that movie for fun. It entertained me. I enjoyed the experience. I hope with the coming back to America, too.
Coming to America.
Coming to America back. Well, they're coming back to America though. Coming to America, part 2. That my main purpose or my main focus is, can I entertain myself, or can I enjoy myself?
Yeah.
If you enjoy yourself that much, that inspires you to go and let's say to seek for more. Hey, where does this movie? Who are the actors and that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's fine. But if you really want to study Africa, I mean, the movies are the last place you really want to go to. The movies are the last place. It's literally the last place to let's say find information on reality, because movie is entertainment, and entertainment is actually fictional, right? And they have to make it as fictional as possible.
Right.
So don't ever watch a movie thinking this should or this represent reality, because you'll be disappointed. And that's the thing. With Coming to America, from reviews and stuff, and there were disappointments on both ends. The one disappointment was the fact that those who watched Coming to America 1, they felt disappointed in Coming to America 2. Why? Because they had wanted the ignorance or the jokes to be, as much and as ignorant as it was 30 years ago.
Oh yeah.
And on the other hand, those that still watch it and as well as have become conscious of the true Africa, they watch the movie and say, oh, this is not representative of what Africa is, and this and that. My only question is, did you enjoy the movie?
Okay. That is I'm not mad at that.
Yeah.
I would definitely we'll talk about that next time, because there are a bit of movies that are actually based on true African stories, but didn't get as much as attention because of the there wasn't enough drama, enough.
Yeah, it's not entertaining enough.
Remember the one? Did you watch Queen of Katwe?
No, I just looked it up, but I never even heard about that.
Right. Yeah.
Which says a lot in itself.
It does. It does. Leaves us to definitely a part 2, and I even believe it's going to come as a part 3, where I promise to give an uninterrupted discussion of Let's Chat Africa, the one that deals with stereotyping Africa and what we could do to address it. Both Liz and Nene, I would like to thank you so much for hanging on there. I know quite some interruption, but we overcame them. And also, Nene, shout out to you for tuning in from GH. I am sure you'll be getting lots of sun, from that side of the world. Looking forward to the continuation of this convo, and I would like to thank you so much for your time. All right, have a good evening, and let's catch up soon. Of course, the follow-up meal is going to follow up very much. All right, have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Right.
All right. Well, this brings us back to where we are, and this is one of the conversation that could go all over the place.
Right.
Could go left, right, but it's worth talking about because I think that it can truly address what still could be covered, especially in this time where people are so much loving Africa. I was talking to it with my colleague, and she was like, lots of people are, coming to Ghana because they know that's where the buzz is. Let's come to December. I was also talking to someone who said, what, try coming in March, so that you can get a bit of a cultural experience.
Yes.
Young people are loving it. Of course, it's a wave, the energy, the partying and things, but it's worth, looking into what can we really get out of this? What is the information that we need to truly understand the power of our people?
Yes.
And to connect in its right way, a bit of a more Pan-African sense.
Exactly.
If we connect it to you.
Yeah, and we the power of the media we have a say in it.
Yeah.
The power of the media has been shared now.
Right.
Media is not only corporations or institutions. Media is partly, or maybe a bigger part of media is actually now individuals.
Right.
So that's social media. So let's use that force. Let's take that responsibility to also give that other perspective.
Yeah.
You was it this year or last year when I was on my way, I think, to Ghana, and then I think I took a picture and I sent it to you of this. They were raising funds for an African poverty thing, and I was like, how can we still see banners of this at the airport,
right.
like support child poverty in Africa? Literally, this was the banner at an airport. So that means that this is still what media is trying to portray. However, we are now so much more on our social media and stuff. So though that is there's also another side of the coin that we actually have in our control, and so we have to put that forth. I love it when I watch snaps or when I see pictures of places, and the caption will read, what location is this, or in which country do you think that is?
Right.
And then later on, you see it is in Zimbabwe, Africa.
Sure.
Like pictures like that.
Yeah.
So hey, let's do more on that. And
understand our power.
Understand our power of media. Yes.
And how we can grow it. How we can build. What do they say? Even if you can build an economy on it, then you've really succeeded.
Yes.
know?
So let's aim for that.
Absolutely.
Let's aim for that.
Absolutely. On that note, we have come to the end of Africa on Focus. And also, speaking of economies, Africa on Focus is in short on a Patreon platform. And Patreon platform means that you can contribute to us expanding the Africa on Focus focus. Let's just say We long to also take the conversations where we can, go to locations of Africans who are making an impact, see how they change, their world, and also cover that in video form and in on platforms. So with that, it needs funding. And if you like our show, if you would like to contribute on a monthly basis, you can contribute for anything from €5 a month, and see the platform grow. We are taking our community over there and, growing it to see that concept come into life, that hopefully by God's grace, within a year or a two time, we can take this video content and really bring it to the conversations of in people's work setting or environment setting, and whether that be lifestyle, business, a community, or anything focused. So make sure that you look out for that. We will be highlighting our Patreon page, of course, throughout the weeks. If you go on Patreon, you type in African Focus, you can find us there. We have reached the end of the show again. Next week continues. Man, any plans for this week?
Any plans for this week? King's Day.
Oh man, what are you doing? Are you gonna take a walk outside or?
King's Day. I'll be touring on King's Day, I think.
You'll be touring, cruising?
I'm with my boys on the motorcycle.
That's cool. That's cool.
Doing some errands.
Yeah, that's cool. That's the good stuff, man.
And it's gonna be sunny weather, so.
Is it?
Yeah. Still cold, but at least the sun is gonna be out.
It's so chilly. I don't know what to do with myself. Nah, man. It's I'll probably take a walk, go inside. There is one interesting event that I'll be moderating, which is about the impact of Nelson Mandela, if his dream is continuing, presented by ZAM magazine. So if you go to ZAM magazine, if you type it in, you can find there and register for the event. If you have nothing to do in the evening, feel free to interact with people, friends of Africa, Africans as well, as we talk about how can we continue the dream of Nelson Mandela in its current form. All right, well, Africa on Focus it is. If you missed any of our episodes, don't forget to find us on all your streaming platforms. Africa on Focus, the podcast, is where a recap of our most best conversations that we have on there. Of course, if you find us on Instagram, Africa on Focus is there. Facebook, Africa on Focus. If you want to follow me, you can find me MS.ABA, Miss.ABA. You will find me there. Shout out to Slim, the producer behind the steering wheels and all the buttons and everything to make this happen. Next week, we'll be back with Africa on Focus, covering all of the highlights, the news flashes. Very soon, we will also have a health lady back that can tell you a bit about boosting your immune system this coming period. So stay tuned for that. Interesting conversations, sharing Africans all over the world, sharing our success stories. We're tuning out, and I think that, we can tune out with a record by the Dutch-based Marisea, who has her latest record called Pepperlet. Let's get into it, and we will be catching you next week.
Bye-bye.
Baku, miedo, mensa. Let me give you a carpet walk. I'm the head, put a crown on top. Bet you can't handle this thing. Come by the best at beginning, be too much. Give me the lights on my shine, say it's too much. Original thing, gonna cry, tell me who is like me. No one, if you want it, go get it.
HiRadio, HiRadio, voice of the next generation.
But you know go succeed with greed, so please. Kone boko boko, kone boko boko, kone. Hey, go shot it. Go shot it. Go shot it. Go shot it.